they start peaceful and loving. Because you don't kill a frog by putting a frog in a boiled water. You put the frog in a normal temperature of faucet water, and you slowly put the temperature under it higher and higher, and then you kill the frog. This is an FBI. First time I met was FBI in Florida, good 10 years ago. I was so excited, I couldn't sleep the night before. Because tomorrow I'm going to meet with the FBI. Tomorrow I'm going to tell the United States of America intelligent people some truths about Islam. That they may wake up and save your country. But after I met with this FBI, not once, twice, 3 times, I saw it's a waste of my time to talk to your intelligence, your FBI. You know why? Because they're stupid on purpose. They choose to look in the other side. Watch this video and learn some truths about this interview.
We're here in Washington today to speak to a Department of Defense analyst and counterterrorism official who, requesting anonymity, has made some very remarkable charges. Charges that both the political and the military structure of the highest levels of our government are infiltrated by the very agents of the enemy against which we find ourselves fighting today. Well, you were given an assignment from the Joint Chiefs, essentially from the upper levels of the Pentagon, to understand what the Islamic Jihadi enemy's ideology and operational methods might be. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you discover?
Well, I was expecting to find that, well, there was some basis to the jihadi arguments that there's jihadi warfare, that there were competing arguments. And that we could probably leverage these competing arguments, but that because they were claiming Islamic law as the basis for their action, we had to start there. And over a long period of time, I ended up collecting a large body of Islamic law, enormous amount of it available in English, and realized that if Islamic law is the criteria by which you measure legitimacy or illegitimacy, you can't show that the models have a doctrinal basis to the position that they are, and you can't show that on the statement of the law, the radicals are wrong. I was expecting to find competing views that had some merit. I was expecting to find that the moderate view would be the dominant view, and we would have to figure out how to make these arguments so that people in the Middle East would know what it was, and could not find it. Now, I could find that you're not allowed to fight a jihad you can't win, and that's a limiting factor. But when you get to actually what published Islamic law says, it supports the radicals in what they say. You come to find that you kind of get a sense for the language of jihad and the language of how Islamic law works, that it's pervasive even in the U.S. Muslim community.
Okay, well, presumably, this would be an interesting piece of information for our Defense Department to have. What were the consequences of you coming back with this information?
Shock. Because what my experience brought me to was the complete unresponsiveness to facts.
When officials started telling you, hey, we're not interested in this, we just really don't care to hear this. I mean, how pervasive was this attitude? Was it large numbers of people or 1 or 2 key individuals?
I can't give you names and numbers. I do know. I have to say, in fairness, there are scores of senior people who got it and were supportive. But it seems that the organizational emphasis and the institutional emphasis was in the other direction. And you know, so you would get it in terms of people who come up and tell you, we really support you, but we can't really go so far. You know, I supported some missions where the people who I supported made it very clear to me that using the information I used really brought success in a stunning way. And for a while there, I thought that just the sheer force of those successful things would cause some people to do double work. It didn't happen.
Here we go, FBI investigate the Muslim movement in America. So he comes to his study with the idea that he will study about Islam, he'll learn about Islam, Islamic law, Sharia, and he will come to the conclusion that these bad radical Muslims are not a good Muslim. After all, that's what we've been hearing in this country for enough years. Have you heard Bush that he told you about Islam? Islam is a loving, peaceful religion. Says who? George W. Bush. And so every important person in the political arena in the United States and all over the world. So when you grow up all your life hearing this lie and your lies repeating often enough and people start believing it, then you say, oh, Islam is a loving, peaceful religion. Therefore, the Islamic law which is the writings of Allah in the Qur'an and the writing of Muhammad in the Hadith. What is Sharia? Islamic law. Sharia is not called Sharia law. The word Sharia means law. And it's so foolish to hear Americans say, oh, Sharia law, Sharia law. Law? Sharia Islamiyya or Islamic law. Speak Arabic or English. Don't say law. Now he's saying Islamic law. He was investigating this for 15 years, as same as this gentleman was the FBI. And after 15 years, he discovers that the radical Muslims are truly following the teachings of the Quran. And those who believe or claim to be moderate Muslims are off from the truth about what Islam is all about. I studied hundreds of books about Islam for all the years of my life. I'm a 43 years old man. Since I was 8, 9 years old, they started teaching us about Islam in school in Egypt. By the time I finished my college in Egypt, I started studying my own the last 20 years. And I read hundreds of books. Guess what? 2 words never exist in any of all the books which is written throughout the last 1400 years by Muslim scholars. The word radical Islam and the word moderate Islam. Or radical Muslim or moderate Muslim. These words do not exist in any book. You know why? Because these are words invented by George W. Bush. Why? Because he does not want you to live in fear about all Muslims. Oh, no. They're just some radical Muslims. Pure radical Muslims. How many? 20% or so. 20% of 1.5 billion, that's 300 million. That's a small number. 300 million means nothing. But the FBI could not find the truth, as we always been hearing the last few years, since the first September 11. He found out that radical Muslims are the true Muslim. It's not because FBI, he just come up with this idea. No, because he studied, he searched. See, Thomas Jefferson 200 plus years ago heard about these pirates who are kidnapping our ships in the Mediterranean Sea. So he investigated a little bit. He said, oh, Mr. President, these are the Muslims. And as the ambassador of Libya, talked to the Muslim leaders of North Africa, he found out they believe that we are infidels. Our women and our children, our money is lawful to be taken according to the teachings of the Quran, as Allah said to them, what your right hand possesses. وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ. They have the right to attack our ships. Even though at this time we were giving, United States of America, we're giving $1 million to all these North African countries to help them out. That is exactly 200 years ago is 1/8 of our income in America. All the money they collect from your taxes was 8 million. 1 million go to the good Muslim of North Africa. Then Thomas Jefferson decided to read the Quran. And he read the Quran. And he found, yeah, that's what they exactly believe. Therefore, he take our military to launch the first war, which no one learned about anymore in our school in America today, because that would insult the Muslims. He literally put them back 1,000 years to the days of Muhammad. That's how powerful were the Muslim countries of Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya. Remember that the song we sang, to the shore of Tripoli? That is the capital of Libya. So, I wish we had another Thomas Jefferson in America today. To open the Quran and read it for the American people, to know the truth about what is written there. For example, Quran chapter 5, verse 51. What did Allah say there?
O you who have believed, do not take the Jews and the Christians as friends. They are friends to one another. And whoever among you takes them as friends, so surely he is of them. Surely Allah does not guide the unjust people.
Oh, you're taking this verse out of context. Oh, you translated wrong. That's a bad translation. Let's read the verse of all other English translations. Let's read it within its context. Because guess what? Verse 50 have nothing to do with 51, and 51 have nothing to do with 52. What did Muhammad meant when he said that? It's very simple. Don't take Jews and Christians for friends. Why? Read the rest of the verses of the Quran. Because you're supposed to engage in war with them. Why? That you may kill them. Why? Because they are infidels. Don't take Jews and Christians for friends. Why is that Muhammad? Listen to his own words, Sahih Muslim. And by the way, none of these verses will be put in any textbooks for your children to learn in our public school in America, to learn some truths about Islam. But they will put you other verses like Qur'an chapter 2, verse 256, no compulsion in religion. You cannot compel somebody to be a Muslim. A verse which Muslims know for sure, 100%, an abrogated verse. Allah has changed his mind about the verse. Allah has removed its action from the teaching of the Quran. That's not my interpretation. Go and read all Muslim scholar interpretation. 256, you can see, وَهَذِهِ الْآيَةُ مَنْسُوخَةٌ. And this verse is abrogated. Why? Because if this verse is not abrogated, we're going to have a bigger problem. What is the bigger problem? We have to throw the whole entire Quran into the trash can. Why is that? Because Allah in the Quran said, does he not consider the Quran? If it is from others of Allah, they will find in it many inconsistencies. One verse in the Quran says, no compulsion religion. Another verse in the Quran, compulsion religion. Which one should you practice? And if there is one inconsistency in the Quran, the whole book is no good. So, this is what Muhammad said in this hadith.
I have been commanded to fight against people till they testify to the fact that there is no God but Allah, and believe in me that I am the messenger, and in all that I have brought.
Are you trying to tell me that Muhammad was a radical prophet? He is going to fight people, he's going to engage in war with people until people become Muslims. And who told Muhammad to do that? Allah himself. I have been commanded to engage in war or fight against people until people go up, become Muslim. Testify to that there is no God but Allah. And believe in Muhammad to be the messenger of Allah. What a prophet of peace. And Islam spread with peace and evidence. Not according to Muhammad's word. How about this verse of the Quran, chapter 8 and verse 65?
O you prophet, provoke the believers to engage in war. If there will be 20 patient ones of you, they will have victory over 200.
Provoke who? The extremists. I'm sorry. Believers. That's the word believers. Allah calls them believers. Muhammad calls them believers. They call themselves believers. And you foolish American calls them extremists. Or radical. I'm sorry. That's not what FBI discovered from studying Islamic law, the Quran, and Muhammad's word in the Hadith. But this great Muslim scholar theory. You know, Muslims tell me in America, oh, you're not a scholar. You're not qualified to interpret the Quran. I said, I thank God, I never interpret the Quran, I just read the Quran. That's all. If you have some common sense, you can figure it out yourself. And if I need interpretation, I go to Ibn Kathir, Tabari, Qurtubi, Jalalain. Praise God, the interpretation is all over the internet. In Arabic and some in English. Now, Ibn Kathir, for example, the great Muslim scholar, every time in his book, the beginning and the end, every time he mentions the word Jews or the word Christian, you know what comes after that? The following sentence? La'natullahi alayhim. May the curse of Allah be on them. So really, Ibn Kathir likes us Christians so much, and he loves the Jews so much, that he curses plenty of time in his writings. La'natullahi alayhim. The curse of Allah be on them. And that's how we know that Muslim scholar really loves